or tactical team.
Hey there guys, this is me, Malorian, and this will be another Orc Tactical Team. And today will be kind of an interesting topic. This one here will be around the whole idea of casual gamers. Now, fellow YouTuber, that Terry girl, did a video that I posted up on the Mr. Malorian Facebook page. If you want to find it, you can find it in the description down below. But I posted this one up and shared it with you guys because what she talked about was the term casual gamer and why she didn't really like it because of how it seems almost insulting now compared to what it used to be used before. So I don't want to explain things too much because I mean that's what we're going to be getting into, but I want to use this video to talk about, well, what is a casual gamer and is it an insulting term and is it good or bad type thing, right? So let's start with the definition of what a casual gamer even is. And to do this, we have to kind of go back a bit, right? Because this is something that's kind of was used a little bit beforehand, of course not just now. Now, people who would play the game and really want to focus on the game and try and win, they're competitive gamers, right? Somebody would go in there and be like, I want to win with this 40k army. Okay, well, you are a competitive gamer. You know, you want to win. The extreme of that is that if you were like, you know, no matter what, I'm always going to get the best stuff. I'm not going to give you any leniency. I'm going to push, 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 and destroy, 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 because the only thing that's important to me is winning. You are a win at all costs player. Now, we're not going to get into that whole term and that whole mess there, but that's the extreme of like the super competitive player. Well, what's on the other extreme? Well, the other extreme kind of came down to the casual player. So this is a person for whatever reason, and there can be lots of them that we'll touch on later. You're just not that invested in the game. You don't play that often. You don't use your spare time to investigate new strategies and counters and stuff like that. And as a result, you win less, right? If you got one person who's super focused on the game and plays a lot and another person who doesn't, it really doesn't matter what hobby we're talking about. That one person who doesn't is going to be losing more. And so really the connotation here and the whole way that this definition gets framed is around how good you are at the game. Of course, you have exceptions to the rule where you have a casual player who's just a natural or gets lucky dice and they win, but in general terms, casual gamers are people who just don't win as much because they just don't focus as much on the game. Now, grabbing this and taking it back to Terry's video, her whole point is, okay, that's what the definition used to be, but her problem with this is that now, in today's current setting, she finds it insulting. And the reason why it's insulting is that the game, to her view, has kind of evolved, right? So whereas before, it was a game, we're like, hey, we got this game, let's see who wins, the other hobby sides of the game have really developed. It's actually really crazy to see where, you know, when I was first getting into the hobby, you know, if you got any paint on your model at all, it was like, hooray, and like the bases was like these like speckled balls to try and be grass. It was garbage, but that's what people did then. And that's even if you even bothered with the base, right? There was even things where before that, it's like, well, you don't even bother with the base. Now there's a lot of painting that goes around. There's a lot of design work that goes around when people want to convert their armies, make movement trays. I mean, the whole idea that people would have like custom trays that are made to look like boats and awesome things, that just wasn't really done before. And now it's almost a standard where if you go to any larger convention, you look around and all these armies here look amazing because people are putting so much more work now into the painting side of it, the conversion side of it, the design side of it, right? And that's really a whole new different aspect to the game. However, we still have this one piece that's called casual gamer. Now, where she finds this insulting then is, let's take a person who doesn't game very often, right? They might come out to the store and game once a month, once every 2 months, but while they're at home, they're painting all the time, they're converting all the time, they're always working on the hobby. Well, they're certainly not casual because they do this stuff all the time, and yet if they go to a tournament, they'll be automatically termed as a casual gamer. And so her thought was that we just probably shouldn't be using this term anymore because it's no longer appropriate. So that's that video, and that's now explaining everything to you. So what's kind of my take on it? Well, what I like to really see this as is focusing on a hobby and saying, well, what does the term actually mean? Well, the whole part of it is, first of all, casual, right? So you are doing this casually. Whenever you feel like it, you're going to go in there and you're going to do it. So I might be a casual gardener if I go out there and like once a summer decide to do a little bit of gardening, right? I could be a casual carpenter if, a couple times a year I pull out the hammer and nails and have to go fix something. Now, I think the very important thing that we need to understand with this term is the second word, which is gamer, right? A casual gamer. So with that right there, you're saying, well, this is a person who just games casually, right? And I know there's all these other parts of the hobby, but we're not calling it like a casual hobbyist or anything like this. We're saying it's a casual gamer. And sure, that's saying that, okay, we're going to stick with the old definition and say if you're not gaming, this is the term that's for you. But what I would really reply back to that is that even a bad thing, right? If I decide that I want to be a casual gamer because of whatever reasons. Now, let's get into some of what those reasons might be. First of all, this game just might not even be a priority to you, right? It could be like, look, people, this is a game with plastic and metal. This is not my focus in life, so I'll do it sometimes for fun and grab a beer and all these things, but otherwise, why would I spend all this time trying to focus on this? Or it could be a thing where they just don't have the time to even give if they wanted to, right? Maybe they have an extremely busy job that takes them all around and they're always traveling, or they're on night shift or something like this. Maybe they have a really busy family life. It's like, well, I'm taking my kids to soccer and swimming and stuff all the time. I just don't have time to do this. Or maybe it's something as well where it's like, hey, I'm also a football coach, and I also run this podcast, and I have all these other personal hobbies I do that this part of the hobby I just don't have time for, so it's going to stay casual. I'd also say they can also be a personal choice when it comes to the investment side. So for me right now, the two main games I'm playing, I'd be calling War Machine and Gilball. Now, War Machine, I am definitely a competitive, dedicated player. I'm spending a lot of my days, thinking about War Machine, building lists, building counters, and trying to develop what I'd be doing to win games. Then there's Gilball. Gilball, I have actively said in my mind, I'm going to be a casual gamer at. I'm not going to go anymore and try and focus on this game and say, you know what? What's all the new models? What are all the counters? What am I going to do? Okay, let's talk some strategy. How do you counter this person? No, I'm going to leave Gilball as my casual game. And I'm just going to have fun with it, right? Whenever my daughter wants to play, we'll pull out some Gilball and we'll have some fun. But I'm not going to sit down for hours and hours and hours analyzing it like I would with War Machine. So, if that's all the reasons, what I'm trying to get to is that a bad thing? And I think that's the biggest thing here, is that maybe there is no offense to be had with this term. It's just a factual statement. So, if somebody comes in and they're, for whatever those reasons, only able to play here every couple of times, and I would consider them and maybe even call them, right? If they're like, oh, well, like, who are the casual gamers in the group? Well, this person would be a casual gamer. And I guess, too, like, the reasons why would this be coming up? Well, it could be a person who wants to help develop the community. Oh, who are the casual gamers? Because you don't want to kind of make sure that they're involved, right? If I put a poster up in the store, sure, all the regular players will see it, but the casual gamers might miss it, right? Or, oh, maybe for the casual gamers, I'm going to try and develop a tournament like I had before, where it was flexible, where you play one game a week, arrange it at your own time, and this way, it doesn't matter what your schedule is and how often you're able to come out, you can generally get the games in to do an event. Stuff like that. So it might be trying to help the casual gamers. As well, it could be on the competitive side, right? As a person like myself and other people who are trying to push for that top, 1%, when you're trying to look at a turnout for a tournament and saying, who do I have to plan to counter? Oh man, this person's really good, this person really dedicated, that's what we have a problem. Okay, this person's a casual gamer, I'm not going to focus on their stuff as well because they're probably not going to be very competitive and not doing the best moves. Now, I feel that's where the insult is coming, right? When people at the top circle are pointing down their fingers and saying, that's a casual gamer, I don't need to worry about you. But again, is that actually a bad thing? You know, if there's a person, and that's a factual statement, that they get to only come out and play 3 times a year, isn't that really real? That they don't need to worry about you? And if anything else, maybe you're actually shooting yourself in the foot, because if I say, oh, I don't need to worry about Jimmy because Jimmy only comes out like 3 times a year, and then Jimmy brings the fire and actually has been ready to play and kicks my butt because I'm not ready, if anything, I'm just hurting myself. So maybe the right way to look at this then is say, you know what? Casual gamers are just that. They're gamers who are casual, and more importantly, there's nothing, don't hit the ceiling, there's nothing wrong with that, right? If you make that choice that this game of plastic and tin is going to be not a priority for you, well then sure, whatever, that's not a problem. If you love painting and if you love the hobby side of it, great, that's amazing, but you still will be considered a casual gamer. Now, I think another interesting way to look at this is what's the reverse, right? If you have a person who is really into painting and they're an amazing painter, and I think we all know that from our own communities where there's someone who's just an amazing painter, right? And you're like, wow, they are so good. And I mean, they're definitely glorified because they deserve it, right? They have amazing skills. Now, if you take that and you look to somebody else and they just don't paint for their own reasons, right? Like they just don't like painting, or they don't have time, or they're colorblind, or whatever, they don't paint. Now, we don't really have a term for them. We don't have casual painter or something like this, but the fact is that even if there's not a name to put to this grouping of the elite painters and the non-elite painters, sorry, hiccup, the fact is that we still group them. And so no matter what part of the hobby, we're still giving honor and respect to the people who do amazingly well in those parts of the hobby, right? Even if there's not a term for it, I don't know what we call it, maybe we just should call them like casual painters or something. The fact is that we're already grouping them in our minds anyway. Same thing, say, if it comes to converting, right? Oh, wow, these people here, they're amazing at converting. Look at what they did. Oh, wow, did you see that Crixified Signar army? That's amazing. And then there's people where they just always take it out of the box, go for the boring pose, and that's it. Because again, whatever their own reasons are, whether they don't care about converting, or they just don't have time, or whatever, that's the choices they made. And we already say in our heads, these are the people who are amazing at converting. I never look for converting from these people because they just don't bother doing that. And again, I think the whole point of this is just to say that's okay. This hobby has many different aspects in it, and whatever parts that you want to do is your own choice. And it's not good, it's not bad, it is simply your choice, but they also have real life consequences, right? It's not like you're going to go to jail or sort of consequences like that, but if you're a person who is not putting the effort into painting, well, people aren't going to respect you for your painting. If you're a person who doesn't make amazing display boards, you're not going to be a person who's respected for your amazing display boards. So doesn't it make sense that if you're a person who doesn't go and put the investment in and the time to be a competitive gamer, that they're not going to respect you as a competitive gamer? I think this all just makes sense. And so with that and with in mind, I don't feel there's any issue with the term casual gamer. So again, this is something where, you know, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of opinions out there, and I love these conversations. One of my favorite things about these org tactical teams lately is that we're getting lots of comments and lots of discussions down in the thread, and that's amazing. That's what I want to see. So if you either agree with me or don't agree with me, please post it down below. And otherwise, guys, we'll catch you later. Bye.